I didn't see that happen. Maybe there was a confrontation, maybe there was a disagreement, but I don't think it ever got to that level, at least so far that I've been able to decipher.
Interesting. We have some really good Twitter questions I want to get to. I want to get more into the Towns Intrigue. Let's thank SotaStick, SOTA stick.com. Also at sotastickco.com, depending on how you want to type in their website on your browser. This is our basketball show, of course, but they do have some really cool Twins trucker and dad hats out. They say Twinkies. They're obviously in kind of traditional Twins colors. We've told you about their basketball apparel. Obviously, they have a lot of great Viking stuff. We can definitely recommend the Twinkie hats. Also, if you want free shipping on any price item, you type in You Betcha and you will get free shipping. They also have free shipping for all orders over $99 if that's the way you want to go. But type in You Betcha anyway, just to give us a little credit for being the people who tell you about SotaStick. They have hockey stuff, baseball stuff, football stuff, curling, basketball stuff. I wear their 99 shirt all the time. Youth and women's fits. They have hockey stick barbecue sets, hockey stick plungers. If you're really hockey fans are the kind of people
plungers
would get hockey stick plungers. Hockey fans are those kind of people. Hockey logo trucker hats, hockey stick bottle openers. They have stickers. They have posters. A lot of old Moss stuff. It's just really cool Minnesota bred apparel that I wear all the time. Check out SotaStick.com, and thanks to SotaStick.com for sponsoring the program. Let's go to a few Twitter questions from Derek Oren or Urin. I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. With Wiggins already getting the max and Cat needing the max, can the Wolves pay Butler the max, or does someone need to take less? I'm assuming other players in the team will have to be paid the minimum or very low numbers, trying to keep these three, if that's the way it goes.
Yeah, it is a daunting proposition right now because Wiggins is getting the max. Cat will likely get the max this summer, and Butler wants a max, whether it's this summer or next summer. And so if you do that, it can be done, but then it means that pretty much everything you have left is veteran minimum contracts of the mid-level exception and then draft picks to fill out your roster. And so if you're going to go about it that way, you have to make sure that the three you go about it with are LeBron, Bosh, Wade level three, Durant, Curry, Draymond, Clay, whoever you want to call at that level of a three-headed monster. Love LeBron and Kyrie that can get you to a championship essentially on their own, or are good enough that other players will take a heck of a lot less to come and play. That has not been determined yet with these three. I think especially with Wiggins, like with Butler and Towns, they're all stars, so that they have a lot of skill. They're going to be productive. With Wiggins, is he a good enough third option to make me think as a veteran out there looking at a couple of different deals? Yeah, I'm going to take a veteran minimum to go to Minnesota and play and chase a championship as opposed to Houston or Golden State or Boston or wherever. It can be done, but it's precarious. And that's why I do think in the next couple of years, there is a chance, and a decent one, that one of the three moves on. Maybe, I wrote at The Athletic yesterday and today on, their biggest decision right now is this summer is, do they keep Andrew Wiggins or do they trade him? It's very difficult to trade him if you want to, but given how the rest of your team is structured, that might be something that they look into. Or you try and keep Andrew and hope that he eventually blossoms, and then maybe you have to say goodbye to Jimmy down the road at some point. And so there's going to be kind of a sort of card game that they have to play to see if they can do all of these things, stay under the luxury tax, and compete for Western Conference Finals and championships. I don't know that it's been fully answered yet that, yes, this is the core to get them there if you go about it that way, or do they have to kind of break it up and then look at supplementing it in different ways to just to try and retool here?
Jason Moore says, clearly Tibbs has no clue when it comes to personnel. He traded Zach LaVine and his pick, Chris Dunn. Patton has played 2 minutes this past season. He was hurt. I know, but he's not good. Why is Glenn Taylor keeping this guy around? And, I understand the frustration. I would say that this is one of those situation, as we were talking about before with fans and Twitter, he's not wrong, but he might be overstating just how bad things are over
right.
there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, he's been good with personnel in terms he brought in Jimmy Butler, brought in Taj Gibson, brought in Jeff Teague.
I think his strength has been the players he's brought in.
Right. Yep. And now Levine, I love him, and I think everyone around here loves him, but he's not all the way back from that knee. We don't know where he's going to get in terms of his development. So there are two areas where you look at where you can point to as critical of Tom in terms of personnel. One is the way he's filled out the bench. He signed Cole Aldrich. He doesn't play him. Signed Jordan Hill. Didn't play him. Signed Jamal Crawford. Played him. He didn't really. He was okay. And more of a leader in the locker room, more of an asset there than on the court for what Tibbs wanted out of him. Those kinds of things. And then drafting, signed Chris Dunn, didn't really play him a ton, and moved him. Signed Justin Patton. Not his fault that Justin Patton was hurt. If Patton was healthy and turned into a player who could play 20 minutes a night as a rookie, or even 15 minutes a night, and then showed you that eventually he's going to be a starter in this league, I think people are saying that things a lot differently. I know when the deal first went down on draft night, everyone said, boy, how did Tom get that number 16 pick in addition to Jimmy Butler for what he gave up? And so they just had bad luck in terms of Justin Patton. Now, maybe eventually Patton becomes a player who just isn't good enough to play, and then we can evaluate that as we go forward. But right now, we don't really know what we have with Justin Patton and how he's going to turn out. If the foot gets healthy and he turns into a quality player, then that changes the tenor of that observation.
Absolutely. From Captain Kirk, do either of you see any big trade involving the Timberwolves happening this offseason?
Well, big trade is relative because the two biggest pieces that they could move, Andrew Wiggins or Gorgui Dieng, are the most difficult to move given their contracts. And with Gorgui, his value is so low, I just think it's going to be hard unless you attach a first-round pick or some other sweetener to get a team to take him. It's going to be hard to move him. And then do you want to give up an asset like that just to get off of somebody? So that deal makes me think Gorgie's probably here to say, Andrew Wiggins, do you want to sell low on Andrew Wiggins? Or do you want to try and get something more out of him and see if he kind of continues to mature and ascend, and then maybe he has a better year next year, and then you look at trading him. But with that 5-year deal about to kick in, I don't think you're going to get necessarily the return on the investment that you want that would make it worth doing. I do not see Karl Anthony Towns being traded. I know everyone's worried about that right now, but you
can't trade Karl Anthony Towns.
You can't
do
that. No, and so big trades, no. Smaller trades, if Rose comes back, do you look to move Tyus? Maybe if there's a couple, maybe little nips and tucks here that you can do, but the only semi-big moves they can make are with Wiggins and Dieng, and those guys are really tough to move right now as is.
Really, the most important question of the podcast is coming up. Do want to thank Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Again, it's Hoaglund. We've told you about Tony and his services. One of the cool developments lately has been the app that we discovered we use, the State Farm app that basically allows you to just print everything out, do all your business right on your phone. I like visiting Tony, but I don't always want to drive to do my business. It's really nice to be able to use the app as well as all of the other services at Tony's office.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So on Twitter, Achtung Sie Boom, I think that's his real name, asks, are John's eyes as dreamy in person as we all imagine? Well,
this is for you. I can't.
It's a difficult question because how do I know what he imagines? It's a difficult. The way you phrase the question makes it very difficult to answer. I will say dreamy. Are they that dreamy? That's a very controversial question. I'm not sure we can address that in this forum.
I have to be careful when I look in the rearview mirror while I'm driving because sometimes
that's
I
distracted
get lost
driving.
in my own eyes.
That is the definition of distracted driving. From Luke Reachins, how hot is Tibbs' seat? Is there any way Jimmy would stay here past next summer if Thibodeau is let go? I can answer the second, no. The first, I'll let you answer.
Well, it's going into next season. I think the expectations are ratcheted up exponentially. So by getting to the first round of the playoffs this year was a good start, but I can tell you that going into next year, just a first round playoff is not going to be enough for people in the organization, for people outside of the organization in terms of where they expect this team to go, especially with a Jimmy Butler core. I don't think it's going to be enough for Jimmy Butler himself. I mean, he wants to be for championships here as he gets into the heart of his prime. He wants to be winning, and so everyone's going into next year expecting to make big improvements, so that does increase the hotness of his seat, you could say. But as far as Jimmy goes, yeah, I guess unlikely if Tibbs were to go, would he stay? But if you pay him, I think he'll stay. If you say, Jimmy, we are going to give you the 5-year max that you want, where some other teams may not, given his age, given kind of his health and all of that. I think there's a possibility that and then if you give him that, and he says, okay, I'll take it, and then Tibbs is gone, or even if it's before Tibbs is gone, I mean, does he love playing for Tibbs? Yes. I think he really enjoys the level of influence he has in the organization, and all those things that comes with being Tibbs' favorite and Tibbs' most dependable. But I think money talks and opportunity talks. If you give him that 5-year max and then say, we are going to have a team that you can compete with and expect to be with, I think there is an absolute a chance that he would stick around for that.
Jason Moore has sent us about 18 tweets saying blow up the entire thing, get rid of everybody. So we know where Jason stands.
It's always easier said than done, Jason. Yeah. And I understand the view there. But if you pull that trigger, you have to be ready for the consequences too. And so that would introduce another level of chaos that would be difficult to navigate.
From Fire Denny, that's a very trendy, I would say trendy and modern moniker. How can we get rid of Wiggins? Need any and all scenarios, please. Can we outright cut him and save the money? Short answer, no.
No, you can't outright cut him and save the money because the money is still on your books. Regardless, that's what NBA contracts are guaranteed, not like most NFL contracts. And so you're going to be paying him unless you trade him. And so, I mean, the most likely scenario for a Wiggins trade is some other GM on a team says, I can get to him and my coaching staff can get to him the way that Tibbs has not been able to get to him. And I look at some of his body of work, and Andrew does have some really big games. He has some clear, I mean, he's a flat-out scorer. There's no question about it. And so there could be a team that says, yes, we think that we can get more out of him than the Wolves have. But are they going to offer a high-caliber starting player and picks or whatever to get him? That I don't know about, which is, again, why it makes it really difficult for a trade to be consummated, because you don't just want to give him away. If it's just a salary dump, then you're losing that. And I just don't think that is what anybody wants to do. And so it's going to be tricky if they want to get into the possibilities of trading Andrew Wiggins.
I'm going to give Jason another shot here. We can't, Jason, I appreciate your passion and your interest, and I like the fact you sent us a lot of tweets. We can't get to all the tweets in one show here, but one point he makes in a couple of tweets here is, okay, the Warriors are showing that ISO ball doesn't work. You got to move the ball. You got to shoot the three. He points out the Celtics, proving that you don't need a super team. You need to play like a team. He's pointing out success stories that don't look similar to the way the Wolves are operating. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's some fairness there in terms of style of play and what works today and what doesn't. That said, let's just hold off on crowning the Warriors just yet. I mean, they got blown out in Game 2 in Houston, and yeah, they looked great last night in Oakland. I still expect them to win the series, but Houston won a ton of games